Namaste, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. Welcome to a very special broadcast this Sunday morning, viewers. As in a short while from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be there to attend the Somnath Shaurya Parv. There's a reason why, viewers. Somnath is more than just a temple. It is a symbol of resilience, faith and civilizational pride. Saurashtre Somanatham Srishailam Mallikarjunam. That's how the mantra for the 12 Jyotirlingas also begins. The first shrine to be named is Somnath. Now, over the years, the shrine was repeatedly destroyed, yet it rose again and again, rebuilt by generations determined to preserve both their heritage and identity. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi is in Gujarat on a 3-day visit. On Saturday evening, he offered prayers at the Somnath temple and also took part in the rituals marking the Somnath Swabhiman Parv, more importantly, commemorating 1000 years since Mahmud of Ghazni's invasion in 1026. He also witnessed a spectacular drone show, joined in the chanting of the Omkar mantra. For 1000 seconds, that's what he tweeted, 108 rounds of the Omkar mantra, Om Somanathaya Namaha, and participated in special prayers at the historic shrine. Now, in a short while from now, the Prime Minister will attend more programs, including temple celebrations and the vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference later towards the back half or the second half, where he is expected to speak, along with, of course, many other luminaries from Bharat, from across Bharat. Now, as Bharat marks a millennium since that original desecration or the first big attempt, the question remains, was Somnath's destruction simply about conquest or about religious supremacy? Now, viewers, there are a lot of tales within our itihasa as to when the Somnath was built, and we will talk at length about that. But between the 7th century, the 9th century and then the 11th century, that is when Raja Bhimdev rebuilt it after Ghazni's desecration 1026, Somnath Shrine has been repeatedly subjected to multiple attacks. But there have been people who have not only fought and defended Somnath, but every desecration has seen with a stronger rebuild and a bigger temple at that very spot. What marks that spot and why is it so important? We will talk about that at length, and how this must be remembered to also remember the Shaurya, the courage shown by Bharat's Veers at that time to fight off these invaders and intruders, these atankis. That's the reason why that we are trying to showcase this. Let's try and understand this in detail. What will the Prime Minister do? The Prime Minister's second day, day 2 of this 3-day Gujarat visit, 9:45 a.m. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take part in the Shaurya Yatra. The Yatra with 108 horses honoring the temple defenders, 108 of them who stood and defied and denied Mahmud Ghazni till their last breath. This symbolizes the valor, power and sacrifice, reflecting the resilience and enduring spirit of the Somnath temple. Those of our viewers who are joining us on this broadcast or who watch it on YouTube and join us later through the day will perhaps have also read Suhail Dev, the story of Suhail Dev, the fictional representation of those Veers written by Amish Tripathi. Now, 10:15 a.m. Prime Minister's darshan and puja at the Somnath temple. We will be covering that, and we will stay on a continuous broadcast right through this. 11 a.m. the Prime Minister will address devotees at the temple premises. At 1:30 p.m. the Prime Minister will open a trade show and exhibition, and then 2 p.m. he will inaugurate formally the conference and address the public around vibrant Gujarat. And there will be a lot of other people speaking, including the Chairman and Managing Director of Reliance Industries, Shri Mukesh Ambani. But more importantly, let's focus on the Somnath Shaurya Yatra and the reason why this is significant. Payal Mehta is right on ground. There are a lot of representations, a lot of color, a lot of song, dance and also manifestation of the cultural ethos that Somnath represents. Somnath has various reasons, and Someshwara, the avatar or the representation of Shiva as Someshwara, has its own itihasa, and also there are scriptural references. But let's go across to Payal Mehta, who's been there over the last 2 or 3 days covering extensively this Parv and the developments in Somnath. Good morning. I hope you've had a great darshan also, Payal, because that Shivlinga has a certain energy around it, and I'm sure you've felt it too. Take us through what's happening around you.
Well, you can see a sea of people, Anand, as we just take you around. We just at the roundabout where the temple really is as well. People are walking in, in groups, whether it's young, the old, women, men, children, they're all walking in. And they want to fill in the place as much as possible to capacity, given the fact that this is a special occasion for the people of Gujarat, special occasion for the people of the entire country as well. 1,000 years being commemorated since Somnath was first attacked, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be offering special prayers. What I'm given to understand, Anand, that all the pandits of the 12 Jyotirlings will be assembling here to make that special puja happen. As far as the Prime Minister is concerned, it's going to be a 20-odd minute puja is what I'm given to understand. And then a little away from here is the Sabha Sthal, where the Prime Minister, of course, will be addressing the people of Somnath, talking about the vision of his government as far as Somnath welfare and development is concerned. And more than anything else, the Prime Minister had a spectacular, witnessed a spectacular drone show last night here at the same premises as well. The Prime Minister was also there. He recited the Omkar mantra like you are pointing out, but it's a great day and a very important day. We're being asked to move from here because there's going to be a lot of VIP movement which is going to be there as well. But this is how it is, from a small temple to the kind of structure that you see really being created, although the temple complex is yet to be completed, but you can see this huge structure being created over here as well. And that is how it is, and you can see a lot of people preparing for the song show, dance. It's going to be a parade also which the Prime Minister will be witnessing. It's called the Shaurya Yatra or the Shobha Yatra, as it is called in the local dialect over here as well. Big occasion over here for the Prime Minister to come in and witness. Big occasion for the people over here as well. Let me just try and ask a couple of people what do they really think about what the arrangements have been, and what do they think why this occasion is extremely special as well. We'll try and get you a few voices. आप मुझे बताइए कि कैसा लग रहा है आपको आज इतनी बड़ा प्रोग्राम होने वाला है?
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है।
क्या मैसेज है प्रधानमंत्री का देश के लिए? आप कुछ नहीं बोलना चाहेंगे?
नहीं।
आप सोमनाथ आए हैं पहले यहीं से हैं?
मैं अहमदाबाद से हुई है, पूरा मैनेजमेंट हमारा है, गो बनाना कंपनी का।
सोमनाथ की जो शौर्य जो पूरी गाथा है वो क्या मायने रखती है देश भर के लिए?
देखिए, जो सोमनाथ स्थान है बहुत पवित्र स्थान है। हम लोग मथुरा वृंदावन से आए हुए हैं और यहाँ पर आकर हमको बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। तो भगवान भोलेनाथ की असीम कृपा से ये जो जगह है ना, बहुत अच्छी जगह है।
दर्शन करने का मौका मिला?
हाँ, मिला, भोलेनाथ का दर्शन करने का मौका मिला। यहाँ पे हमारा जो ग्रुप लगा हुआ मयूर का। राधे राधे।
Of course, Anand, there is generally also a lot of crowd at the Somnath temple at this time as well. But this being a special occasion, at least I was lucky to get my darshan yesterday. But we're going to clear this area because the security is asking us to clear this area, and we'll see in a while from now. The parade takes shape and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be witnessing it. Yesterday we saw him from close quarters just yesterday while he was entering the temple. So you'll have to just give me a couple of minutes while I fix my frame.
Sure.
And get you the visuals from a vantage point.
Right. Of course, we'll come back to you for a vantage point location and also continuous coverage. Lots of color, lots of, verve there, and the Prime Minister trying to send across a significant message. Today marks 1026 AD to the 11th of January 2026 marks 1000 years for the first big attempt of desecration of the Somnath temple. Multiple times, repeatedly, more than 16 times this temple, this shrine has been broken down, they attempt to demolish, destroy it, but it's been rebuilt. The last attempt, post Bharat got its independence, that's in 1951. Well, the first time around, where it is chronicled in terms of historically, is around the 7th century. So the Solankis, Raja Bhimdev Solanki rebuilt it after Ghazni in 1026 or 1027. But before that itself, in the 7th century itself, there was a beautiful temple that was built. There are tales that Krishna, Lord Krishna, who breathed his last at the end of or at the beginning of the Kali Yuga, not so far away from where the Somnath temple rests, also built this temple in wood. Let's go across to our guests. I've got Ishika Taneja with me in the studio. We've got Rahul Ishwar joining us. But first, we'll go across to Sadhvi Bhagwati, who's joining us too. Namaste to everybody. Thank you very, very much. The importance of Somnath, Someshwara, Lord of the moon, they say. But more importantly, the Lord who's controlled his mind, the Lord who's controlled the ebbs and flows of the mind and emotions. That's where Somnath becomes important. If you were to understand this spiritually, Sadhvi Bhagwati ji, but it is also a symbol of courage.
It is such a historic day today because this is the time that really the revival, not only of Somnath Mandir, but of so much that is happening in the hearts and the minds of people in the nation and around the world. Because Somnath is not just a temple. When Modi ji goes, when other people go, it's not just to do pranam to bricks or to a building. It's to do pranam to the bhakti, to the strength, to the resilience of the people of Bharat, whose light and whose faith can never ever be destroyed. You can destroy bricks, but you cannot destroy bhakti. And when we speak about Dharma as Sanatan, as eternal, well, we're seeing it truly is eternal both in time, but also in space. Because not only is it for people on this land, but it is giving the teachings, the wisdom, the inspiration to so many people across the world. I see every day at Parmarth Niketan in Rishikesh on the banks of Ganga, so many people come from all over the world and have not only a dip in Ganga, but a dip in our Sanatan Dharma and Sanatan culture. And I know for me personally, when I came to India almost 30 years ago, it transformed my life. I always say, you know, from Hollywood to the Himalayas, of this experience, from the education that I got at Stanford University in getting a PhD, but the real education of life. And that is what Sanatan gives us. And when you see this Somnath Mandir having been violated and harmed and even parts of it destroyed 17 times,
Yes.
but never did the minds or the hearts of the people get destroyed. And just lastly, you know, I was watching the videos of the preparations there, and all of the youth especially, you know, we're calling them Gen Alpha, but I think they're really Gen All, because this is going to be the generation that, as Sanatan Dharma is really for everyone, as we pray for all, this generation is really going to be embracing all that Vasudev Kutumbakam, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina tradition and culture. They're really going to be embodying that. And you know, these days, all of that which is harming our world, from climate change to war to violence to environmental destruction to everything, the answers for that are in our Sanatan Dharma.
True.
The
So-
global, I'm sorry?
No. So rightly, what you say, and you spelled it out beautifully. You said Gen All. I heard it as Gen Om, another symbol that symbolifies and is all-encompassing, because it is the sound of the universe. It is the sound of Shiva, and somewhere this is perhaps a shining example of how science and spiritualism were merged by the ancients to make it, something which is very, very easy for the common people to follow, those who have not the kind of intellect or the ability to have jnana. Because viewers, if you've been to Somnath, you will see that point which has been dated since the 9th century. Even before Ghazni came, that point has been marked, which shows that there is an unobstructed view for Bhagwan Somnath or Someshwar towards the end of Bhumi. That is the South Pole. And there is no land. And this mark is still there, and you can see it. And that's the science. That's the ability of astronomy, geology, and maritime sciences. That's again part of Bharatiya knowledge. If I were to say the entire kosha of knowledge, if I may use that term. Sadhviji wanted to say something. Then Ishika and Rahul Ishwar. Yeah.
Just very, very quickly, I realize you have to go to other people, but just what you were saying, you know, what modern science is discovering today, so many discoveries are actually what our rishis and our sages and our yogis told us thousands of years ago. You look at quantum mechanics, you look at where physics is today, you look at concepts and discoveries around quantum entanglement, around string theory, around observer effect, around so many things. And it's like, ये तो अपने शास्त्रों में है. This is in our scriptures. This is what our sages said thousands of years ago. So this is just one example of where science and spirituality not only overlap, but where spirituality has given us the wisdom that thousands of years later science is beginning to catch up.
True. And thing is, as Professor P.R. Mukund so beautifully says, that the knowledge was discovered or understood by the ancients, but the knowledge is still current. In fact, Western science is now moving from matter to energy, but Bharatiya Itihasa and knowledge systems have always spoken about energy. All these are energies, and we are trying to look at the control of the energies. Now, Someshwara, the lord of the moon, is Somnath. So, what is the moon? You know, Ishikaji, if you were to look at from a spiritual point of view, the moon is the one that controls the tides, the ebbs and flows around the earth. And the moon also has a wax and wane. So, it goes out and then comes back into its full bloom. And that's when it affects the cycles of nature around us. And if someone who controls these cycles is the person who's seated at that as the deity, as the presiding deity, you just have to learn how to master the mind.
Definitely. So, Som is the god of the moon, and definitely, see, moon reflects on our body because we are 70% water, and we have seen it, and now it's known fact that definitely it affects the the tides of the ocean, and if it is affecting the ocean, it is definitely affecting us, and 90% in our mind is water. So definitely when we talk about Somnath temple, that is the first Jyotirling. So it has a lot of essence in the sense of also about the timing. It also has, even when you actually look at the whole Jyotirlinga journey, first temple is Somnath because you have to first control your mind and you have to control your emotions before you actually can proceed towards your entire journey. And today is our Swabhiman Parv. So what I really like about this Parv is, like Bhagwati ji was also mentioning, that is, it's Gen all. It's not a very easy, for us, it's not very easy to get all the generations together on a Sunday morning, and everybody is waiting for Modi ji to address everyone. They're all waiting for that yatra to be happening. And you can actually see Gen Alpha, you can see Gen Z, you can see even Car Sevak, you can see volunteers, you can see the old age people who has seen the entire journey of this 1,000 years of resilience, the way we have fought.
I think somewhere there is this attempt to also shed that colonial mindset, and what our books since Bharat's independence have tried to teach us, that we were always defeated. And we are nothing but the vanquished. But the chronicles very clearly say that the first time the temple was rebuilt was in the 7th century, and by the kings of the Maitraka kings of Vallabhi, 649 CE. Then 9th century Nagabhatta of the Gurjara Pratihara dynasty, that was in 815 CE, so 200 years later. Then 11th century 1026, when the raid happens, that raid happens in 1026, the temple is rebuilt by Raja Bhimdev Solanki and also King Bhoja of Malwa. So that's why Bhojashala and Bhoj Kshetra also becomes important in Madhya Pradesh. So there is a connection here historically. The next time that happens was in 1169. So after 1026, 1169, nearly 140 years later is when the invaders even had the courage to turn back at Bharat. We forget 150 years is a lot. Bharat is only 76 years young right now. So almost twice the current age of independent Bharat. It took the invaders that much time to even come back, to muscle the courage to come back. This is perhaps lost, Rahul Ishwar, and perhaps that's what the Prime Minister is trying to bring back, saying it's not about rebuilding, it's about the resilience shown. It's about showing that those attackers were pushed back, they were sent back, and they came back with 3 times the strength because they realized how strong Bharat is.
Absolutely. Anandji, first of all, Jai Somnath, Har Har Mahadev. It brings me great joy as an Indian, as a Hindu, to see Somnath being celebrated. Somnath is a great symbol of resilience, culture, spirituality, as all the earlier speakers said. So there is a spiritual angle, historical angle, heritage angle, and also a very important aspect of a paradigm shift in public policy. This is one thing we should credit Modi ji with. And let us be honest about it. I have all the respect for Nehru ji, who was our Prime Minister, but he was a center-left person who believed that Somnath need not be celebrated or rebuilt. See, it's a historical fact nobody can deny. At that point of time, Sardar Patel, K.M. Munshi, Rajendra Prasad were of the opinion that the civilizational resurgence should happen. So Gandhiji played the centrist role, where Gandhiji joined both and said, Gandhiji went on record and said, Somnath is a great symbol of Hindu civilization and India's pride. We should rebuild it, but with some caveats. See, this was Gandhiji's position. So people from Mahatma Gandhi to the other spectrum totally supported this, whereas Nehruji was not mindful of it. I have all the regards for Nehruji, but this is a paradigm shift where Modi ji is wearing spirituality up his sleeve. He is celebrating, going to all the temples, and we, me being an Indian from South or a South Indian, we had the privilege of Modi ji coming to Kerala many times, to Vivekananda Rock many times, and Honorable President of India Draupadi Murmu ji visited Shabarimala. See, unless we celebrate our Indian culture, who else is going to celebrate? India is the largest Hindu majority nation in the world. If we don't celebrate our temples, culture, civilization, history, heritage, who else will celebrate it? And Modi ji is taking a right Gandhian line in saying that we should celebrate ours, we should not hurt others. We should celebrate our culture, our history, magar sabka saath sabka vikas. I don't think any Hindu will have any hatred towards anybody. That's not the path Vivekananda or Gandhiji showed us.
I think it's not even
this is
about
the right-
hatred. Yeah, it is about the fact that we know how to fight. We know how to defend our territory, and we know how to stand up for dharma. So the biggest Rashtra Sarvopari, and what is your biggest dharma? Your biggest dharma is to ensure that you protect your culture, civilization, and your nation, the idea of a nation. And somewhere, I think this entire erasing the colonial mindset, shedding the colonial mindset, one of the Pran Pratigyas that he had outlined about 2 years ago in his Independence Day speech, he is continuing to walk that path, and he's not allowing a date to slide by. This is an important date. A millennia later, who are we as Bharat? A millennia after the first time someone decided to desecrate a temple, not loot and plunder, because he was only after the riches. No. He came there with the intention to destroy the temple because he identified that as a symbol of Bharat's culture and Bharat's knowledge. So if you destroy Somnath, you destroy the morale of the people of Bharat, and you get an entry into this nation and this land of knowledge and riches. That's what was the thought process. This land of those people who deserve to be converted into the faith that was using the dint of the sword to try and force people into following their path. This was the thought process very clearly, and let's make no bones about it. And the Prime Minister is saying, we stood up. We thrust them back, we pushed them back to a level they didn't dare to come back for 150 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, just about 40 minutes ago, has also tweeted. He's shared highlights from the programs that he attended, and he said, and I quote, Somnath stands as a beacon of eternal divinity. Its sacred presence continues to guide people across generations. Bhagwati ji, there is this effort to try and not just bring back the spiritual knowledge quotient, but somewhere the aspect of courage. We are not a Bhiru nation, we are a Kshatriya nation, or we are a Veer nation. That bhava is also perhaps the Prime Minister trying to underline this, because more people will try and want to understand the history of Somnath, the importance of Somnath, why it is the first of the Jyotirlingas, as Ishika ji was also saying, that you have to control the mind. Saurashtri, Somanatham, Srisailam, Mallikarjunam. These are the first two. The ninth is Kashi Vishwanath. So, there is a time and it's a progression, and you have to start from here. That's the importance. It all begins from Somnath.
Absolutely. The Shivlinga here that we speak of as a Jyotirlinga is really critical because it's that light. And that light can never be extinguished because the light is inside of us, and that light is the light of truth. It is the light of devotion. It is the light of Dharma, and it is the light of connection. And from that connection to our heritage, to our roots, to our culture, to the Dharma, that connection is the soil in which courage blossoms. And that's true 1,000 years ago. It was true many thousands of years ago. And it is true today. And for our youth, and for everyone, of course, but since Bharat is now such a huge percentage of youth, for our youth, in order to have the real courage to step up and to be not the next generation, but the now generation, they have to be deeply anchored and connected in that soil of Dharma and Sanskriti, which is what Modi ji is doing. And from that courage arises their creativity to actually be the ones to bring the solutions to all of the problems that we are facing in the world today. But it begins, as you say, with Somnath, because it begins with that light of connection. And I know as I see these youth that they are really the ones now who are growing in, and you could hear it when you listen to them speak as they're waiting for Modi ji, such love, such devotion, such excitement. You know, they really are deeply, deeply connected. And I have full faith that with our Honorable Prime Minister's leadership and guidance, this young generation, so anchored in connection of Dharma, with that courage, is actually going to lead Bharat back into its place of really being the Dharma Guru that it is, that it's always been, but that light needs to shine today, like the light of that Jyotirling needs to shine even brighter and held by all of the people of Bharat for all of the people of the world.
True. Somnath Swabhiman Parv is what it's being called, and it's the Somnath Shaurya Yatra. See, it's not about bhakti, devotion, or the spiritual aspect that he is highlighting. That is there. But more importantly, it's about Swabhiman. Take pride in what we have as our civilizational bank of knowledge and repository, spiritual and otherwise, and have the courage to defend it and also celebrate the Shaurya that was displayed. Payal Mehta is back with us. Payal, what's your vantage point and what are you seeing around us, around you?
Well, I can see a lot of color around me as well. I'm going to ask video journalist Rajesh Bharadwaj to show us the scenes over here. Everybody's patiently waiting for the Prime Minister to really come. Look at the color that you see around. As well, we'll try and get in a word from a few people. As well, there are, of course, culture which is at display. There is a lot of, color that you really see. There's a lady who's walking up to her. Look at her, beautifully dressed in traditional Gujarati attire. आप इतना सज धज के आ जाइए, क्या स्पेशल ओकेजन है आपके लिए?
हमारे लिए ये हमारा एक स्वाभिमान पर्व है. हम मोदी जी के लिए यहाँ पे परफॉर्मेंस करने वाले हैं. गरबा हम लोग रिप्रेजेंट करेंगे.
Ask her what is she wearing?
बहुत एक्साइटेड है कि पीएम सर आज आ रहे हैं और हमको गरबा करने का मौका मिला है और हम बहुत खुश हैं कि पीएम सर हमको देखे और बहुत खुशी है हमको.
आप दोनों मुझे समझाइए, क्योंकि हमारे बहुत सारे दर्शक हैं जो गुजरात से नहीं, मैं तो गुजराती हूँ. आपने जो पहना है उस ड्रेस को क्या बोलते हैं, उसके बारे में बताइए.
हमने जो पहना है इसको चनिया चोली बोलते हैं. ये हमारा अटायर है, गुजराती अटायर, जिसे हम लोग सारे ओकेजन में ये पहन के करते हैं. हम लोग गरबा खेलते हैं, इसे डांडिया भी खेलते हैं.
कितने महीने से तैयारी रहती है चनिया चोली बनाने की, पहनने की?
2 महीने की तैयारी हो रही है.
आनंद, आप दोनों उठ जाइए और हमारे दर्शकों को दिखाइए कि चनिया चोली दिखती कैसे. भाई भी पीछे खड़े हैं, वो शर्मा रहे हैं, उनका केड़िया मुझे दिख रहा है. आप दोनों अगर खड़े हो जाए तो हमें दिखेगा कि ट्रेडिशनल पहनावा क्या होता है. यस,
So it's so beautiful.
that kedia that the gentleman is wearing.
In fact, Payal, you know, the colors, the patterns which are there, they are more than 2,000 years old. It's the same weave, same patterns that have been followed there through generations. Imagine that. That's the beauty of the traditional attire. There is a thought. and that's what is witnessed in this in the KD and Chanya Chole. Yeah, go ahead.
Anand.
Yes, Payal.
Anand,
Yes.
I'm going to ask him to quickly give us a swell. एक फटाफट एक डांडिया का स्टेप करके गरबा का एक स्टेप करके दिखा दीजिए हमारे दर्शकों को. Color is never a problem, Anand, as far as Gujarat is concerned. I can bet on that. Although Gujarat, I have two left feet. I can't do garba for no matter what really happens. But
Yes.
beautiful color over here, beautiful
But
presentation
again,
over
the
here.
significance.
As well, of course.
Again the significance of
Well,
of the male and the female, the Purush and the Stri, the elements of Purush and Prakriti from our Shastras is the fact that it's Someshwara. But the Garba and the dance of the divine is performed for Shakti, and the deity in the center who's kept is Amba. So it is just so brilliantly intertwined that Purusha and Prakriti, the elements and the forces of nature that make whatever is there, beings on nature, living elements on nature, the two forces are always celebrated jointly and in the presence of each other, while they are also revered and celebrated uniquely. That's Bharat. And be it Purusha or Stri, everybody has done their bit to save our culture, our civilization and fight for it, including at Somnath. We'll talk about that after a very, very short break. Do stay with us.